It is unbelievable insanity to say that the kind of strategies that the governance or the governments that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago are different from the ones that we are experiencing now. And therefore, I would say anybody who is trying to say that the current regimes are using a different kind of governance and strategies to calm chaos, steal public funds like they always do, and try to silence people who are their critics, is different from the previous governments, is a lie. What I'm trying to say is the kind of governments that we have today, the strategies that they are using in their daily activities is almost the same or is similar to the ones that happened several years ago. I mean, these people are just students of history. If you are keen enough, then you would have gone and entered the documentations of history that are in audio, video, and even some are in ink on paper. You will realize that our current regimes are just copying from that old syllabus, and then the only thing that they do different is that they try to do little tweaks here and there. They try to fine-tune the strategies that were used by the previous regimes. They revise it, and then they come up with an improved, more efficient copy, which they are now going to use to govern the modern citizens. I mean, when you read about Kenyan history, you will not miss going into the history of Moi as the president who ruled for 24 years. And when you go deeper, you realize that he had a lot of critics. In fact, in 1982, there was an attempted coup on his government. Historians tell us that before that coup, Moi was such a soft and calm president, and he was ruling with friendliness. He was listening to views from all corners, from those in service and even those who are in the opposition. But the moment that attempted coup happened, then all of a sudden everything changed and he became a dictator. In fact, he went to the parliament and instructed the members of parliament then to erase the clause of section 2 of the Kenyan constitution that allowed multipartyism. And so Moi decided he was going to rule through iron fists. Anybody who tried to talk against him was silenced, was either abducted, detained without trial, or some even disappeared. Some were killed. He suppressed all manner of protests from civilians and even from human rights activists by using the brutality of the police force. Now, that was Moi. Even though there were still oppositions, there were street protests until they forced him in 1990 during the Sabasaba protests to later reintroduce multipartyism. But he spent a greater time of his rulership being a dictator, which only started after the attempted coup of 1982. Now, let's come to Ruto, our current president. I can say he's using the same script that Moi used and which any other president in other countries also use. We can give a similarity with Idi Amin. But now let us stick to Ruto first. When Ruto came to power, from what I know or what I experienced before the popular Gen Z revolution of June 25, 2024, he was not such a tough guy. He was not involved in abductions here and there and killings. He was working, though he had a lot of PR. He was talking too much and doing very little, but his level of dictatorship was not as wanting as it is now. Then came the revolution. The Gen Zs trying to storm into parliament. They even attempted to set it ablaze. And now, after that experience, there has been a lot of separations from the police to the civilians. There have been a lot of killings. There have been a lot of abductions and arrests. And as much as human rights activists and civilians are trying to protest against the president, but we can clearly see that he's ruling with an iron fist. The same thing that Moi did. Would you deny that they are reading from the same script? No, you don't have to deny. It is clearly visible. If you can read from the way William Ruto is ruling, you will learn or realize that it is critically similar to the way Moi did.